Hello everybody and welcome to another Oscar prediction video where today I will be taking a look at the category of Best Documentary Feature. Now, a lot of people have been saying this race was sewn up for a while now, and so you might be surprised that I waited this long to do a video on it. And the thing is, I wanted to have hope that we would get an upset in this category, and I still have hope that we might, but it was one of those things where I sort of kept pushing it off based on personal preference because I was waiting to see if the tide would turn. But as of this moment, it doesn't look like the tide has turned. But before we get into that, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge the other nominees. This is very much a two-way horse race, but there are some excellent other nominees. I currently have only seen two of them that are the top two in this category, and I'm trying to do better every year with watching more Oscar-nominated films. Hopefully next year I'll try to see all five of the nominees, but as of this moment I've only seen two of them, which is better than most years. Most years I don't even care about the documentaries, but there were some good ones this year. So without any further ado, fifth most likely to win is Writing with Fire. So the summary for this one is, in a cluttered news landscape dominated by men, emerges India's only newspaper run by Dalit women. Chief reporter Meera and her journalists break traditions, redefining what it means to be powerful. So this one has some pretty strong reviews. However, not many people have seen it, and not many people were predicting it to be nominated. It was kind of a shocker nomination that got in there by the skin of its teeth, which is why I don't think it's going to win. Again, I haven't seen this one. I don't know too much about what it's about. I think the subject matter is enough to intrigue people, but I haven't heard as many people talk about it. If they have, it seems to be positive. I've heard a few people describe it as like a pleasant surprise after they've watched it, but I just don't think it has the profile. I didn't hear enough about it throughout the season pre-nominations. I didn't hear it get nominated for a bunch of stuff, and so while this is obviously an important subject matter, I don't see it being the one to take away the Oscar. I don't see enough of the support going to it over the competition in this category. Speaking of which, fourth most likely to win is Ascension. Okay, so the summary of this one reads, the absorbingly climactic Ascension explores the pursuit of the Chinese dream. This observational documentary presents a contemporary version of China that prioritizes productivity and innovation above all. So this is something we've definitely been hearing about in the news. This is a subject matter that a lot of people already have their eyes on, and it got a couple of pretty significant nominations in the lead up to this, so most people knew it was in the conversation. I don't think I had it predicted myself, but I think I had it as like 6 or 7. And it's definitely something that's in the conversation. People are talking about it, but I don't know how many people are saying it's the best. Looking at this, I don't see how many wins it's gotten. Some pretty significant nominations from a lot of guilds, but this is one where the nomination itself really does seem to be the reward. I don't think it has the support it needs to overcome some pretty formidable competition in this category. So again, I think they should just be lucky to be nominated. Haven't seen the film. I hear it's very good, but I just don't see it happening. Third most likely to win is Attica. Okay, so this description reads, this unnervingly vivid dive into the 1971 uprising from Emmy-winning director Stanley Nelson sheds new light on the enduring violence and racism of the prison system and highlights the urgent ongoing need for reform 50 years later. So when this documentary was coming out, I heard a lot of references to the 1970s movie Dog Day Afternoon and the Attica. So this is related to that story but tells a different side of it. And this one has not only some significant nominations, but one very significant win. It won Outstanding Directorial Achievement in Documentary, where it was widely suspected to lose to another documentary. But I don't think that alone is enough to make it stand out as a winner. and plus I think it's a Showtime documentary. I don't know if enough people have seen it compared to the top two. And so I think if anything, its win shows that the top two is perhaps more. It's not as firm as we thought it was, and there might be some room for. I don't know. I've already talked before in a lot of other categories how sometimes when the top two is tight, number three can come in. I just say that as like control to make sure I cover all my bases because it has been known to happen, and I don't want it to sneak up and surprise me. But let's not kid ourselves here. This really is a two-way horse race, and it's between two films, and I have to choose. So I'm going to say it. Second most likely to win is Flea. So this is one of the best movies of the year. It might be my favorite movie of the year. That is a very, very tall order because I don't usually give documentaries that much praise, but this film is absolutely extraordinary. Flea tells the extraordinary true story, I just said that, of a man, on the verge of marriage, which compels him to reveal his hidden past for the first time. This is a documentary that I would recommend to everyone, and given what's happening in the world right now in Ukraine, its subject matter is more relevant than ever, and it is absolutely vital to see. And the fact that it overcame the odds and got all three nominations: animated feature, international feature, documentary feature. So for a while, I was convinced that this would be our winner. I was convinced it would be our winner even before I saw it, and when I saw it, it was so undeniably good that I just had to call it the frontrunner, even though other people said it wasn't the frontrunner. And so I've really had my eye on this to do something, and it has won a significant amount of precursor awards in the build-up to this, but not quite enough. It hasn't won anything super significant. And I've been keeping an eye on it for it to win something like PGA or Critics' Choice or BAFTA or some very significant documentary award that would give it a bit of a leg up. And it has won some stuff. It has won like Gotham. It has won like Boston Online. This movie does have a lot of hype in it. And the fact that it's nominated in all three, animated, documentary, international, means people are likely to see it. And people are likely to love it and to want to vote for it somewhere. And this is the category where it makes the most sense to vote for it because as a documentary, it's doing the most innovative stuff. However, as much as I want it to be true, and I really, really want it to be true, I can't deny that this is not the film that's been winning all of the awards. The film that has won all the big awards, number one most likely to win, is Summer of Soul. Oh boy, Summer of Soul. Documentary about legendary 1969 Harlem Cultural Festival which celebrated African American music and culture and promoted Black pride and unity. Now let me make one thing very, very clear. This is a great documentary. I've seen it. I think it's very, very well done, and I get why it has so much support behind it. Now, as a person, I have never really enjoyed music concerts that much. I find them very overstimulating, and I can't fully get into them the way most people can. And so, concert documentaries also don't really interest me. So this one did not enthrall me nearly as much as Flea did. But I'm really trying to overlook my bias here, because obviously I really, really want Flea to win, but I completely respect that this is a very, very good documentary. And the funny thing is, when it won Critics' Choice Award, there was a lot of talk about maybe this could end up not getting nominated at all. Because the Oscars have a funny habit of not nominating the presumed frontrunner. And Summer of Soul, which won Critics' Choice and was winning the most Critics' Awards, was in that position of presumed frontrunner, plus it uses a lot of stock footage. So I was initially not predicting Summer of Soul to be nominated. And wouldn't you know, Summer of Soul does get nominated, and The Rescue, which a lot of other people had as the presumed frontrunner, ends up being the one to get snubbed. So, in all of this, this chaos going on, I when it was Flea versus the Rescue, I thought there was a very real chance that Flea could up, come up and win. I thought that was something that could happen. When Summer of Soul got on, it was a bit disappointing to hear so many people who had initially doubted Summer of Soul would get the nomination now suddenly saying, oh, well, it's winning. It's got the win in the bag. And it has, to be fair, it has won a lot. It's won the BAFTA award for documentary and also got the editing nomination there. Again, won Critics' Choice, won PGA, I believe. Everyone really is astounded with this film. And it's won the most documentary critics awards of the season, even though Flea also has a lot of them. So I feel really conflicted because I want it to be Flea. I really, really want it to be Flea. But the more I look at the signs, the more I have to say it's probably going to be Summer of Soul. Questlove is a big name. There's a lot of support behind the documentary. It's on Hulu and Disney Plus, so anybody can watch it. And Flea, I still think it could happen, but the fact that it is an animated documentary and a lot of what's in the film is not footage of real people, that could hurt it. That if people have a really strict vision of what a documentary is, then Flea is not that. But again, Flea is the more relevant documentary to what's happening right now in Ukraine, and that could get more sympathy. Plus, the fact that it's nominated in all three categories means more and more people will be compelled to watch it. So, in a situation like this, it actually, the thing that makes the most sense is to predict Summer of Soul and sneakily hope I'm wrong. Because if I predict Flea and I'm wrong, then I'm going to be really upset. But this, I can get on board with. And again, I don't hate this movie. I don't want anybody to think I'm against this movie. It's just not my kind of film, and I was really amazed by how amazing Flea is. So, long story short, I want it to be Flea. I'll pray that it's Flea, but it's probably going to be Summer of Soul, and I can live with that. Maybe the fact that Flea got these 3 nominations and the fact that more people will know what it is, hopefully that should be enough. But seriously, watch Flea if you haven't. Okay, that is my prediction. Thank you very much for watching, and tune in next time where I will be taking a look at the category of Best Cinematography. See you then.